In Part 2, we covered the economics of the conflict and the catastrophic Dred Scott decision. Now we shift to the human side, the laws designed to control bodies, and the extraordinary courage of the people who resisted them. This is the age of the social conscience, where reformers, abolitionists, and suffragists all pushed America toward a more moral future, often risking everything they had. If you're ready to explore the ingenuity of the Underground Railroad and the wild world of 19th century reform, hit that like button and subscribe. The laws designed to return runaways evolved quickly. The 1793 Act relied on state enforcement, but it was largely nullified by Northern personal liberty laws. The 1850 Act changed everything. It federalized slave catching, forcing all citizens to participate, and it created a rigged system where justice was bought and sold. Commissioners were paid $10 to rule a person was a slave, but only $5 to rule they were free. When the law became the enemy, resistance required ingenious planning. In the case of Anthony Burns in 1854, President Pierce sent federal Marines and artillery to Boston just to return this one man to slavery. The cost of his return was over $40,000, and Bostonians draped buildings in black crepe, shouting, "Shame." Another story is that of Ellen and William Craft. Ellen, who was light-skinned, disguised herself as a wealthy, disabled white man, while her husband William posed as his servant. Ellen pretended to put her arm in a sling to avoid having to sign papers, as she was illiterate. And then there was Henry Box Brown. He mailed himself from Richmond to Philadelphia in a wooden crate measuring just 3 by 2 by 2.5 feet. Despite labels clearly marked "this side up," he spent hours on his head, but miraculously survived the 27-hour trip. A crowd in Syracuse executed the Jerry Rescue by using a battering ram to break into a jail and free William Jerry Henry, smuggling him to Canada in a butcher's cart. Resistance fueled the abolition movement, which ranged from gradualists to radicals like William Lloyd Garrison, who famously burned the Constitution. Among the most powerful voices were the Grimke sisters, daughters of a wealthy slaveholder who moved north specifically to testify against the brutal institution they grew up with. In politics, Frederick Douglass often criticized Lincoln's pace on abolition, but maintained deep respect for him. Lincoln, for his part, called Douglass the man whose opinion he valued most. Simultaneously, the women's rights movement was gaining traction. Sojourner Truth delivered her famous "Ain't I a Woman" speech, which historians believe she gave in a standard Dutch New York accent, not the Southern dialect often attributed to her. The fight for equality even extended to fashion. Amelia Bloomer's promotion of trousers, or bloomers, caused such public ridicule, including barking dogs chasing activists, that they abandoned the cause to focus solely on securing the vote. The era was also rich with utopian dreams. In 1830, the average American drank an astonishing 7 gallons of pure alcohol a year, fueling the rise of the Temperance movement. Before her famous saloon-smashing days, temperance activist Carrie Nation described herself this way: a bulldog running along at the feet of Jesus, barking at what he doesn't like. Meanwhile, communities across the nation attempted to reinvent society. The Oneida community in New York practiced complex marriage, meaning everyone was considered married to everyone, while supporting themselves by manufacturing silverware. Conversely, Brook Farm in Massachusetts, a transcendentalist experiment, failed because the poets and writers who lived there simply didn't know how to farm. Even education, led by Horace Mann's Common School movement, was subject to bizarre rules. Punishments of the era included lashes for things like boys and girls playing together, or wearing long fingernails. Finally, we look at the ultimate crusader, John Quincy Adams. After his presidency, he served 17 years in Congress, fighting constantly against the gag rule, the rule that automatically tabled anti-slavery petitions. He finally succeeded in overturning it in 1844. His most famous legal fight came in the Amistad case. At age 73, he argued for 9 hours before the Supreme Court to free the African captives. Adams was obsessed with leaving a better future. He collected acorns to plant live oaks for future naval ships, even designing a personal seal with the motto Alteri Seculo, which means for another age. The road to disunion was paved not only with political deals and economic exploitation, but with the unrelenting human spirit to resist. From Henry Box Brown mailing himself to freedom, to John Quincy Adams fighting the gag rule for 17 years, the moral foundations of the Union were already being rewritten. That concludes our journey through the road to disunion. I hope you've enjoyed this deep dive into the most volatile period of American history. Question of the day. Of all the stories of resistance we covered today, the Crafts, the Burns Rescue, or Henry Box Brown, which example of courage and ingenuity did you find the most inspiring? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious.